The first time you skip a bill, it doesn't feel like a disaster. It feels like breathing room. The rent money stays in your account. The credit card payment can wait. The car payment isn't due today. For a few days, your bank balance finally looks healthy again. But while you're feeling relieved, something else is happening. You wake up Saturday, open your checking account, and there is more money than usual. Not a lot, but enough to breathe. Enough to buy groceries without doing mental math in the checkout line. Enough to fill the tank instead of putting in $20 and pretending that is a strategy. Most people think the question is simple. If you stop paying your bills, bad things happen. Late fees, credit damage, calls, collections, maybe worse. And yes, all of that can happen. But the bigger story is not legal. It is psychological. The first thing, unpaid. If you like calm, honest personal finance breakdowns with real examples, real numbers, and no fake tough love nonsense, subscribe to the channel before we go deeper, because this is one of those topics that can save someone from turning one hard month into a 2-year mess. Here is the core idea. Bills are not equal. Some bills are annoying, some bills are expensive, some bills can damage your credit score, and some bills can threaten the basic structure of your life, like housing, transportation, utilities. When money gets tight, most people do not rank bills by consequence. They rank them by emotion. The bill that scares them gets paid. The bill that confuses them gets ignored. The bill with the nicest reminder gets pushed off because it feels safer to disappoint. That is how a normal paycheck routine breaks down. Not in one giant collapse, quietly. One skipped minimum payment, one medical bill shoved into a drawer, one car payment moved to next Friday. The problem is that money does not care whether a decision felt small when you made it. A missed payment can start as a coping mechanism and become a financial trap. And once the trap tightens, you are no longer paying for the original bill. You are paying for the delay. Let me put you inside a normal Friday. You are not irresponsible, you are not lazy. You work, you pay taxes, you answer emails. You show up tired and still do what needs to be done. But your paycheck lands at 6 a.m., and by lunchtime, half of it already belongs to people you have never met. Rent is waiting. The car loan is waiting. Insurance is waiting. The credit card balance is waiting. Your phone bill is waiting. Groceries are higher again. And somewhere in the back of your mind, there is a number you do not want to check because checking it will make the weekend feel smaller. So you pick one bill to ignore, not because you have a master plan, but because you need the panic to stop making noise. Maybe it is the credit card. Maybe it is the medical bill. Maybe it is the buy now, pay later plan you regret every time the reminder hits your phone. And for a few days, the world rewards you for looking away. Nobody at work knows. Your landlord does not know. Your friends do not know. The cashier at Target does not know. You carry the secret like a bruise under your shirt. Then the first late fee arrives. It is small enough to dismiss, but big enough to change the math. $30 here, $40 there. A returned payment fee, a higher minimum, a balance that no longer looks still. This is where people misunderstand late bills. They think the problem is the amount they skipped, but the skipped amount is just the original wound. The real damage comes from the infection around it, the fees, the interest, the stress, the credit hit, and the choices you make while trying not to feel embarrassed. You thought missing the payment would create space, but it created a shadow payment. Now next month has 2 jobs: pay the new bills and clean up the old ones. That is how one hard month quietly becomes a pattern. The practical side is simple but brutal. A credit card payment that goes late can start damaging your credit once it crosses the reporting line. A car payment that falls far enough behind can put your transportation at risk. Rent that slips too long can put your housing in danger. But the emotional side is worse because it trains avoidance. You stop opening emails. You stop answering unknown numbers. You leave envelopes on the counter and pretend they are not there. You tell yourself you are waiting until you have money, but really, you are waiting until looking at the truth hurts less. The problem is that the truth does not get cheaper while you wait. A bill is like food left in the fridge too long. At first, ignoring it is convenient. Then one day you open the door and the smell tells you the situation has changed. Comment traps below if you want the free checklist. I'll put it in the pinned comment so you can see which missed bills are inconvenient, which ones are dangerous, and which ones need attention before they become much harder to fix. Now, here is the part that almost nobody explains. Stopping payment is not one decision. It is a different decision depending on the bill. Skipping a streaming service, skipping a credit card, skipping rent, skipping taxes, and skipping a car payment are not the same financial event. They just wear the same word. Start with subscriptions because they are the easiest to understand. If you stop paying Netflix, the punishment is usually simple. The screen goes dark. Annoying, maybe embarrassing if your family uses the account, but not life-changing. This is the kind of bill people should cut before the serious bills get hurt. Credit cards are different. The company does not need to knock on your door to punish you. It can add late fees, raise pressure, increase the minimum, report late payments, and keep charging interest while you are still trying to catch your breath. That is why credit card debt is so dangerous. It does not wait quietly. A car payment is not just a car payment when you need the car to work. If the account gets far enough behind, the lender may decide the vehicle matters more than your explanation. They are not thinking about your commute, your kids, your schedule, or the shift you need to make tomorrow morning. They are thinking about collateral. Rent is even more serious because housing is the center of your financial life. When rent falls behind, everything else becomes harder. You do not negotiate calmly when you are scared of losing your place. You do not sleep normally. You do not budget clearly. You make survival decisions from inside a nervous system that feels cornered. Utilities sit in a strange middle zone. The bill may not feel as scary as rent, but electricity, heat, water, internet, and a phone are not little comforts anymore. They are part of how you live, work, apply for jobs, answer calls, and keep your day from falling apart. Medical bills are where many people freeze. The numbers feel random. The insurance explanation looks like a puzzle written by a tired lawyer. You are not sure what is final, what is negotiable, what is wrong, or what will happen if you wait. So you wait. And waiting becomes its own decision. Taxes are the bill people should be the most careful with, because ignoring the government is not like ignoring a gym membership. If you owe taxes and cannot pay, the answer is usually not to vanish. The answer is to file, communicate, and look for a payment plan before fear turns a difficult problem into a much more expensive one. Here is the psychological trap. When people are behind, they often pay based on shame instead of risk. They pay the bill that makes them feel least guilty. They ignore the bill that makes them feel stupid. They answer the company that sounds kind and avoid the company that sounds threatening. That is why personal finance for beginners has to be more than math. The math says rank bills by consequence. The body says make the fear stop. And when fear is in charge, you can spend your last $200 on the wrong problem because it was the one making the most noise. This is also why people who make good money can still feel trapped. Income helps, but income does not automatically create order. If every dollar arrives without a job, the loudest demand takes it. The paycheck becomes a crowd of hands reaching into your account before you even decide what matters. Think about your bills like a row of doors in a hallway. Some doors lead to inconvenience, some lead to fees, some lead to damaged credit, and a few lead to serious consequences if you keep walking past them without opening them. The mistake is treating every door like it has the same danger behind it. That is how someone can cancel a small subscription but ignore the car loan, or pay a store card because it feels embarrassing, while rent sits there waiting like a loaded trap. The better move is not panic, it is triage. Hospitals do this for a reason. When too many problems arrive at once, they do not treat the loudest person first. They treat the most urgent threat first. Your money needs the same kind of emergency room logic. First, protect shelter. Second, protect the transportation or tools that keep income coming in. Third, protect utilities and insurance. Fourth, make minimum payments on accounts that can damage credit or become legally serious. Then everything else gets negotiated, paused, reduced, or cut. This sounds cold, but it is actually the opposite. It is how you stop one missed payment from becoming a full financial collapse. A calm priority list gives your money an order when your emotions are too tired to make one. The bucket analogy works here too. Income is the water, bills are the holes. When the bucket is leaking, you do not start by polishing the outside of it. You find the biggest holes first: rent, car, insurance, credit card interest, food spending that keeps pretending it is only Then you look for the silent holes: the app you forgot, the membership you barely use, the delivery fees, the overdraft pattern, the small charges that never look guilty alone but together steal the space where an emergency fund should have been. This is where how to budget money becomes less about spreadsheets and more about honesty. A budget is not there to make you feel poor. It is there to show you which decisions are protecting your life and which ones are only protecting your mood for a few hours. Comment checklist below if you want the bill triage checklist. I'll leave it in the pinned comment so you can sort your payments by danger. Protect your essentials first and stop letting panic decide which company gets your last dollars. Now, if you are already behind, the first step is ugly but powerful. Open everything, every app, every envelope, every email. Do not negotiate yet. Do not pay yet. Do not shame yourself yet. Just write down the truth, because the truth on paper is less dangerous than the truth. Next, call the companies that matter before the account gets worse. This is not fun. Nobody wants to explain their money problem to a stranger reading from a screen. But a boring phone call can sometimes buy time, remove a fee, change a due date. Use plain words. I am behind. I want to pay. I need to know my options. That sentence is not weakness. It is strategy. Companies hear silence all day. A person who calls early, asks clearly, and writes down the agreement has a better chance than a person who disappears and hopes the system forgets. Then stop treating the credit card like a bridge. When you are behind, using more credit can feel like survival, but it often turns one cash flow problem into a high-interest debt problem. The card gives you relief in the moment, then sends the pain back with a larger number attached. If your income is too low for the bills you have, do not solve that with optimism. Solve it with math. A car payment that leaves no room for repairs is not transportation. It is a monthly threat. Rent that eats half your take-home pay is not just expensive. It controls every other decision you make. This is where the debt-free journey actually begins. Not with a dramatic promise. Not with a perfect budget. It begins the day you stop lying to yourself about which bills are temporary, which habits are leaks, and which parts of your lifestyle were built for an income you do not really have yet. The biggest reveal is this. When you stop paying bills, the money problem is only half the story. The deeper problem is that avoidance becomes a lifestyle. You stop looking at statements, then you stop planning ahead, then you start believing you are the kind of person who cannot handle money. A bill you face is a problem. A bill you hide from becomes a system. So, look at your own financial life without the performance. Which payment are you afraid to open? Which balance keeps getting explained away? Which bill are you paying only because it screams the loudest? And which one, if ignored, could quietly take away your options? Comment traps below and check the pinned comment. I'll leave the checklist there so you can rank your bills, find the hidden leaks, and start fixing the right things first without pretending you have to become a different person overnight. The moment you face the number is not the moment you lose control. Most of the time, it is the first moment control starts coming back.